and welcome back to GamesCom After Dark. This section of the show is all about the developers. We're going to have a little chat about the games industry, how it's changing and what's coming up. So joining me are Chris and Mark, who you may recognise from the thing they were just doing.
Just there. Just
with moved sofas now. And Yannis from Shadow. Now you might not know what Shadow is, so I'm going to give Yannis the chance to explain what it is. It's a, are we saying cloud-based PC?
Yeah, basically that's what it is. It means that you get a high-performance PC that you can access from any internet-connected device, whether it's a PC, it's a smartphone, a tablet, a laptop, anything. And we are also at Gamescom here to announce the new Shadow box. It's called the Shadow Ghost, and it's like a thin client where you can connect to your computer. You just plug in a screen, a keyboard, a mouse, and you get access to a full-featured high-end computer.
So you say high-end. It is pretty high-end, right? So that box doesn't really have any of the computer in it.
Exactly. Nothing is here. Everything is in our data centers. We have data centers in Europe and some in the US also. And what you access is a computer that has a very high-end spec with the equivalent of a GTX 1080. A very good processor, 12 gigabits of RAM, something that makes a standard computer. But instead of having it under your desk, you got it from a data center and you stream everything through the cloud. Basically.
Okay. So I guess if it's all streaming, the question would be, why is now the time for that technology to take off? Because we've had things in the past where people have tried to use streaming services, especially in England, where our internet is not the best. So why now?
Well, first of all, because the internet is increasing. I mean, the technology we have is way better than like 5 or 10 years ago. The ISPs are doing a good job at bringing fiber to people, even if in England it's not perfect yet. I can say that. But more than that, the encoding and decoding system completely changed in the past years, mostly because the hardware decoding is possible. Also, hardware encoding is a lot faster than it was before. So right now we have the technology that can give you a very high quality stream without any latency, any perceivable latency. I mean, you have something that is less than one image to make, like from 60 FPS, it's only one frame to encode and decode everything. So you won't feel any difference from using a standard computer to using Shadow.
Great. So I guess, Mark and Chris, if a load of people adopt this technology, there's going to be a lot of people who have roughly the same systems. Is that going to help you guys in terms of art assets and designing games in general?
It definitely means we can do it anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely anywhere. I think if the latency is kind of spot on, that would be the only thing I'd worry about.
Exactly.
And if that's not there, then
so there's no barriers there.
No, then there's nothing. There's no reason you wouldn't use it.
And I guess if you're doing that, it does mean, obviously, because it's just a desktop system, you can effectively work from anywhere, which maybe isn't the best, is it? So you'd be like, I can't do that work because I'm at home.
I mean,
no means I can do it because I'm at home. I can do it. I'm on the beach. It doesn't make any difference then. Like, you can do it anywhere.
A certain amount of work has to be done in the office. The sort of the discussions and the design, but a lot of the actual graft work, you wouldn't. Yeah. You don't always need to be in the same place, but certainly in the sort of design and getting the project going, you'd certainly need to be in the same sort of place. But
well, I mean, we know a few studios that most of the people who work there work remotely, and they come into the office maybe once a week. They have an office, but they're only in there once or twice a week. And as Mark says, that's for meetings, that's for face-to-face things where they actually have to make decisions or run through things. But then the rest of the time, they're all remotely working.
So in that sort of production time, that time frame, I think once you get to the sort of end of a project, the ability to literally be able to stand up and call out to somebody over the way there about a problem is really important. But certainly for the sort of
but for asset creation,
asset creation,
it'd be great. Yeah, that'd be really good.
So I guess, Yannis, is it possible for people to share like a login? So if like these guys were working on one thing in Photoshop or whatever, and they wanted to log off, and then someone else could log in, across the ocean and have this access to the same thing. Is that possible?
Completely. I mean, it's totally possible to use it from anywhere. Of course, if you're on the other side of Earth, you will get latency because it's a matter of network. But this is only the beginning of our technology. I mean, right now you access Shadow and you access only to one computer in the distance. But you could be like all working together on the same computer. I mean, the possibilities are endless. Once you, instead of having the power in a local device, you have the power in the cloud. So that means you can do anything from anywhere. I mean, like starting a 3D render from your smartphone. That means also like working on, I don't know, game design from one guy is in Miami, whereas the other guy is in Jakarta, and they can work on the same file at the same time. It's just the beginning of this kind of technology, and what we will see in the future is that it's good for developers not only because they can work remotely, but also because if everyone has a similar system and access something with the similar performances, they don't have to optimize it for different devices. They can bring the game they want on any device they want also. That means you don't have to code a specific version for mobile or for PS4 or for PC. You can access the same content, the same game from anywhere, and that's giving really the freedom to the developers and to the users to create great content and to access great content from anywhere.
Because effectively, I guess that means that Mark and Chris, if it's on a mobile, people could play 2 Point Hospital on their mobile, but via a PC.
I guess so. If it was the control device and the screen, yeah.
I mean, you had to the right internet connection and all of that, but I mean, it sort of blows my mind how that could open up a whole world of new people to your games, effectively.
Yes, absolutely. It's the more people that play games, the better. And the easier it is. I think it's just making it easier. That's the best part of it. Is the easier it is, it just makes it so much more accessible to so many more people.
Yeah. So in terms of the future of gaming, have you got a vision of where you think it's going? Is it all going to be like single player, multiplayer? Is there like a new technology that, like AI, for example, that it's going to improve exponentially, and then that's the thing that we can focus on?
I think if I knew that, I probably wouldn't tell anyone. I'd give it to myself and invest in that. But
I think it's one of those questions. It's extremely hard to have a definite answer, because gaming seems to be so cyclical. It's constantly changing. What was the most popular game 2 years ago? Well, you couldn't move for zombie games. Everything was zombie games, zombie cooking, zombie fishing, everything.
Yeah, it's right about being.
And now it's not. There's only a couple of zombie games, and now other genres of games are becoming more popular. So it just changes constantly.
As well. I mean, a few years back, I would have thought about the social gaming aspect. That would have really taken off. It's sort of peaked now, but that nobody saw that coming.
No, absolutely.
Well, it's rare to get games now without in-app purchases, that's almost become standard. It's become standard. So many different things now have become standard in gaming that you'd have never guessed would have been the case 10 years ago, 5 years ago. So who knows what's going to happen in the future?
Absolutely.
It will be kind of cool, though, whatever it is.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely be cool. That's a fact.
Obviously it's gaming. It's going to be fine. Yeah.
Well, I guess if we're talking about pricing, Yannis, it's worth mentioning that it's a subscription service, right?
Yeah, Shadow is a subscription service. Is £27 per month, so €30 per month in France and in other countries, European countries. And you get the equivalent of a €1,500 computer, so 1,200.
It's about the same nowadays.
Something like this. No, you pay more for computers, right? So that's our price model right now, and you don't have any commitment in the UK, so you can just jump in, start using Shadow tomorrow, and cancel after 1 month. So it's pretty easy to use. So imagine you want to start a new game where you can play it on your computer because it's too old. You just subscribe and you can use it as soon as possible.
Amazing. And how does it work in terms of upgrades? Say, like if I wanted to play the latest game,
to ask that.
like how does that happen?
Can I upgrade the machine?
can't do anything because we're handling everything by ourselves. I mean, that means, for example, when we launched in France the beta, we were running everything on GTX 1070. And since then, we upgraded to 1080 and P5000, so new graphic card. And we're doing everything for the users. I mean, if you break a graphic card, you don't have to matter about it. You just restart your computer, boom, you get a new graphic card. So we are handling everything hardware-wise. It's giving freedom. I mean, it's where you were talking about what could be the future of gaming. And for me, an interesting vision is what Steven Spielberg is doing in Ready Player One. Not the VR part, because I really don't believe in VR. But I really like the idea of gaming hubs where you can jump in any game. You're still with your friends, and you can jump in, I don't know, a shooter or a MOBA or anything, in just a click, and you're still keeping having a continuous experience between the games. And that's what brings the cloud also. You can jump in from a server to another. You don't have to matter whether it's client side or server side. It's really a different paradigm.
Because you guys were saying, I mean, since you've been making art for games and designing games and all of that, loads of different things have come and go. One of those things has been VR. Was there ever a conversation about having some kind of different thing in it, not necessarily VR, but something that made it...
It's odd, we've kind of gone the other way.
We
wanted to make 2 point like games used to be. So it doesn't have any in-app purchases.
No,
not that far back.
I was pixel popping.
There is an illness in the game where it does look like that, so but you can cure that, so that's okay. But I think it's just making games how they were when we played games, because we've been making simulation games for years. So how we kind of remember them being. So it's almost kind of.
Yeah, it's a little bit retro, but we hopefully we're brave enough to sort of say, this is our game.
Yes.
We hope you like it. Two Point Hospital has come out of sort of grafting with quite a small team, and you've got to make those decisions. We can't cover everything, so we've decided to plump for these decisions.
Retro with a modern twist.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So in terms of your disciplines in the industry, do you guys, how did you get into it? Were you always like, I want to do design for games, or?
I personally, I wanted to be a comic book artist at first, and then I found animation. I think it was Aardman that kind of got me properly hooked, and then I went to university, studied animation. Decided that computers was probably where I wanted to go, and then from that games, and luckily I got offered a job by Gary Carr, who's one of the founders of the games company I'm at now. So he hired me 20 years ago and has just hired me again, which is quite nice. Again, cyclical, everything's cyclical. Yeah. But I think I always knew kind of roughly where I wanted to go, but once I got into games, then that was it. Was
it the same for you, Mark?
Well, no, I always wanted to do artwork. That's what I was always into. I used to just draw in my spare time, but I had probably what was considered, what my mum would describe as proper jobs. I was I was a roofer. I worked in a shop. And I did all these things. But one day I just got a break with a company that were making computer software, and it was graphic software, and I hadn't really even used a computer up to that point, but they just said, could you draw us an alien, please? So I sat there for 20 minutes and drew an alien, and they were like, oh great. And then from that, we were supplying this 3D software to games companies, and I thought, well, I really want to do that. And so just through contacts. So I sort of crept in the back door a bit with it, and you just got to work at it. It's been great, really, and I haven't got any actual qualifications, but
Can you remember what kind of alien you drew? Was it the classic?
No. Do you know what? I really wish you know, I didn't even have a copy of it. I kind of thought, yeah, oh, great, you know, as I handed it over, I thought, well, that's me, I haven't got that job. Yeah, and, you know, lo and behold, they rang up.
And here you are.
Yeah, and here I am.
And Yannis, I mean, how do you get into cloud computing? How does that
Well, that's sounds pretty passionate for me also. I mean, I was a strong console player, usually playing on PlayStation, but also loving playing RTS on my PC and this kind of games. I started working in a communication agency and directly into gaming. I really wanted to do this, so I was doing only communications for gaming. So I worked for very big names in the industry like Blizzard, Razer, or Square Enix, a lot of publishers in the past. And the thing I always wanted to do, I wanted to do like marketing for PlayStation. That was kind of a dream, because I feel they're getting branding and how to communicate pretty well, even though they had some rough times, but they're pretty good at understanding how to communicate to players. And when I got the possibility to work for Shadow at the very beginning of the company, that meant just basically that I could do my own PlayStation and create my own brand, create the way I want to communicate, create the way I want to talk to players to get their feedback and create a strong community, instead of just creating a brand where you show a logo, you show a brand, and don't have this exchange with the players, because I think that's the key for us. And so I'm pretty happy to be doing what I'm doing, and it's by passion. I've always worked in the gaming industry because I wanted to. So
amazing. So finally then, if people are watching this and they want to get into the games industry somehow, have either of you, all of you, got any advice for your discipline or just in general?
It seems to be a lot easier to get into it now. There's a lot more ways of doing it. I think because it's more, the social media helps, and the fact that it's just more prevalent now. The gaming world is so much more prevalent now than it was 10, 20 years ago.
I was going to say, it's just a much bigger industry.
Well, yes, it's huge. But there's, but from animation, there's countless courses now, and they are churning out some incredible animators, really, really good animators, but with specifics to be in gaming.
Yeah.
I think you still have to want to do it. I think.
I think perseverance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is really important. Don't first you're going to get knockbacks. But I think you just got to keep trying, and once you're in there, just give it your best shot. You don't slack off. You've really got to work hard. To keep up with it.
And yeah, I think it's definitely a thing about passion. I mean, in the company we have right now, we have people who started in the gaming industry from QA, from support teams and everything. They can, and just by being passionate and still continue working hard, they manage to climb the ladder and do what they want. And it's a very human industry. Everybody is very nice, very kind. We're not in suiting up all the days, and it's really an accessible industry, I'd say. So yeah, just go and follow your passion. And by the way, we're recruiting.
Here we go.
Segue.
We are 140 now at Blade, 20 in Palo Alto and 120 in Paris, and we're looking for developers, marketers, everywhere in all the kind of jobs. And yeah, we're totally open. So
there you go. If you're looking for a job, Yannis is your man.
It's amazing.
Go to Paris. Chris, Mark, Yannis, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a great chat.
Thank you, mate.